Hello everyone, today I'm here to share with you my most anticipated fall book releases. I do these seasonally. I've done one for the whole year, I've done one for spring, summer, and here we are at fall. Now I have to say spring and fall I think are the biggest time for book releases. Summer and winter are kind of not the best, but spring and fall are where it's at for book releases. So I have a long list. Just as a preface, these are books that I personally am anticipating. I'm sure I'll miss some because my research is not insanely thorough, and I'm sure there's going to be some that come out that I am interested in. But as of right now, the ones I've shared with you today are the ones I'm most anticipating. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting out in September. So on the 3rd, we have Five Dark Fates by Kendara Blake. This is the 4th and final book in the Three Dark Crown series, which is one of my favorite YA fantasy series. Basically, I'm going to tell you what the first book is because I don't want to spoil it for you. It's about these three sisters that are triplets, and they are separated when they're very young because they are meant to be the queen, because they are the queen's daughters, and pretty much when they get to the age of 16, it's a fight to the death, and whoever's left standing will be the queen. They each have different powers. One can ingest any poisons, one is really good with nature, and the other one can control the weather. So basically it's about them and about their journey of who's going to be queen. It's kind of a darker YA, but I really love it, so needless to say, I cannot wait to read this one and finish out the series because it's been a long time coming. So on the 3rd, we have The Lady Rogue by Jen Bennett. Jen Bennett is primarily a YA contemporary author, but this is her first foray into YA fantasy, and I'm very excited to read it. I don't know much about it other than it's compared to like a mixture of The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue and The Last Magician. A girl that must hunt down Vlad the Emperor's cursed ring in order to save her father. So I'm very interested in it because of the author. I really enjoy Jen Bennett's contemporary books, so I'm interested to see how she's going to do with a completely different genre, whether I'll like it or not. Either way, I am definitely planning to read it. Also on the 3rd, we have an adult romance, chicklet, whatever you want to call it, called Well Met by Jen DeLuca. This is a debut novel about a girl named Emily who moves and is relocated to a very small town in Maryland, and she gets roped into helping out her sister at this local Renaissance fair, much to her dismay. And basically she meets this other guy. What is his name? His name is Simon, and he's in charge of all the volunteers. He's also a school teacher, and they really clash. Like, she doesn't like him at all, he doesn't like her. But then when they're in character at the Renaissance fair, it's like sparks and chemistry galore. So that's what this whole book is about. So if you love Renaissance fair, definitely check this one out. Needless to say, I'm reading this because we all know I'm a big sucker for anything romance. On September 17th, we have Steel Tide by Natalie C. Parker. This is the second book in the Seafire trilogy. I read the first book called Seafire, and it's all about these woman pirates pretty much, and I really enjoyed it. I would have to say it's a underrated YA fantasy book that I don't think gets nearly enough credit. I really liked it. It had good femininity in it, it had good like pirate themes in it, so I would highly recommend it if you like either of those things. And the last book out in September is the one I'm most excited about, and that is Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. This one comes out on the 24th. It is the second book in the Carry On series. I don't know yet if it's going to be a series, a duology, I don't know. The first book was called Carry On, and it's basically, it's going to be tricky to explain. We follow Simon and Baz, and Simon and Baz were first introduced in another one of Rainbow Rowell's novels called Fangirl, and Fangirl was all about this girl named Kath who wrote fan fiction for Simon Snow. So Simon Snow is quintessential like a Harry Potter type of thing. Fangirl, there are snippets from the Simon Snow books in it, so basically Carry On is like Simon Snow books. I hope I explained that okay. It's like fictional world, it's at a fictional world, about a fictional world. It's a little bit insane, but Carry On is just so effortlessly funny. It's like a little bit of a funnier take on Harry Potter, and the romance between Simon and Baz. Loved it. I can't wait for Wayward Son. Like, I only read Carry On this year, and I get to read both of them in 1 year. I'm a spoiled girl. Moving on to October. This book I have comes out on October 1st, and that is Rebel by Marie Lu. This is the 4th book in the Legend trilogy. So the Legend trilogy is one of like the OG trilogies on the booktube and like YA community, in my opinion. It's one I read a long time ago and I really enjoyed. Do I remember a lot about it? Absolutely not. But all I know, it's like the country split in two, like the Republic and something else, and we have June, who is kind of in the Republic area where she's very good at military strategist, and then we have Day, who's kind of a outlaw, and they meet up and they team up even though they're like supposed to be hunting one another, and things happen from there. So there's a fourth book that is coming out many moons later, obviously, and I'm interested in it because I really remember loving the Legend trilogy. Do I think I'll reread the Legend trilogy before this one comes out? No, but I will go back and watch my review to refresh my memory. I'm sure, and hopefully that'll help. Also coming out on October 1st is 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. This is a YA contemporary book, and it's a Christmassy book, so it'd be perfect for 'Tis the Season-a-thon. Shameless plug, a readathon I run that is all about holiday reads. Check us out in December. A character who is kind of down on her luck and down on love, and her aunt decides to set her up on 10 blind dates in the Christmas season. Like, I think this is from like Christmas to New Year's. So it's got all those Christmassy vibes, and it sounds cute, and it's 1000% up my alley, so I will definitely be reading it, maybe for a particular readathon. Wink. Speaking of holiday reads, also out on October 1st is Royal Holiday by Jasmine Gilroy. This is another holiday-themed book, if you cannot tell. It's about these characters, I think, that are a little bit older, but they meet at like the castle in Britain or something, and he's like a correspondent, and she's just visiting, and they fall in love. I don't know barely anything about this, so please forgive me. All I know, it's a holiday romance, and that's all I need to know. So I'll probably read it for a certain readathon. October 3rd, we have Untitled by Paula Hawkins. Paula Hawkins is an adult mystery thriller writer. I have read both of their books. Really enjoy The Girl in the Train, I'll say that. I did not really love her Into the Water one, but I really like her writing, so whatever she writes, I'll probably read. Virtually, there's no info about this book at all other than a date, so who's to say if this is really coming out then or if it's not. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Coming out on October 8th is the very much anticipated Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This book has been getting a ton of buzz because of what it's about, and particularly because of the author. This one is an adult book, if I'm not mistaken, and all I know about this book is it's a Yale secret society with fantasy mixed in. Heard really good things about it. The feedback has been really good, and I am anticipating it. Don't think I am anticipating it as much as everybody else is, because I do enjoy Leigh Bardugo's writing, I just don't love it. So I am planning to read this, and who knows, maybe I'll fall in love with it. Also on the 8th is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. This is a book that I am very excited for. I think everyone is really excited for The Ninth House. I am very excited for The Beautiful, and I'll tell you why. It's a book about vampires. If you don't know already, I love vampires. Don't blame Twilight for that love. No. I can blame Buffy for the love of vampires. What I know about this, it's a romantic new series set in 19th century New Orleans where vampires hide in plain sight. Am I excited about vampires coming back to YA fiction? Yes, I cannot wait. Yes, I say my vampire love came from Buffy, but I'm not gonna lie to you and say I didn't love Twilight, because I totally did. But either way, vampires are coming back and I am here for it. So I am insanely excited for this book. October 15th, we have Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker. This is a graphic novel. I don't read a ton of graphic novels because I'm just not a big graphic novel fan, but this one, I really want to read it. It's a story of love and demons, family and witchcraft, a witch and a werewolf falling in love. It sounds 1000% up my alley. Again, thanks, Buffy. Last up in October on the 22nd, we had Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. This is an adult romance novel, and I'm pretty sure it's about a second chance romance book. If so, Christina Lauren does that so well, especially with her other book, Love and Other Words. This one is about Tate and Sam, who they fall hard and fast in love. And for 2 glorious weeks, they fall in love pretty much. And then Tate reveals that she is the hidden daughter of one of the biggest film stars in the world, a secret she's never told anyone before. But when Tate is exposed by a whole bunch of cameras and reporters, she knows that she has been betrayed by the one person she thought she could trust, aka Sam. She is forced then to decide if she wants to return to her quiet life or embrace the public eye. I think I think it's going to be a second chance romance because the betrayal is going to happen, and then I think she'll start to love him again. I'm not quite sure, but either way, I love all of their books. They write romance so well, so I will definitely be reading this. Brace yourselves because November is chock full. First up, on the 5th, we have The Toll by Neil Shusterman. This is the third and final book in the Arc of the Sighs series. This is one of my favorite series of all time. It is hyped, I know, but it is well worth the hype in my opinion. Basically what Sighs was about is we live in a world where everything's been solved. Hunger, poverty, diseases, everything. We've even cured death in this amazing world, but the way we have to keep the population under control is have these Sighs that will kill people. And basically in the first book we follow two characters that become apprentices to Sighs and about their experience going through that, and of course we learn more about it as the series continues. It's a very dark dystopian, but I love it, and I've been waiting for this book for 2 years now, and I am really excited it's here. Also on the 5th we have Calm Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. If you haven't heard of the Raven Cycle here on BookTube, it ended a few years ago and it's one of my favorite series as well. It's a YA fantasy it's like a YA fantasy paranormal series that is very intricate but well worth it in my opinion. And this new series, I don't know if it's a new series. It could be a standalone book. I'm not sure. But either way, we follow a character that was in the Raven Cycle, and the character's name is Ronan. We're going to figure out more about him, more of his family, more of his life. And I'm very excited, but very apprehensive because Maggie Stiefvater does really well with series, but when it's done, she'll come back to it sometimes, such as Sinner by her, where she came back to the Shiver series, and I didn't love it, but I didn't love Shiver that much. So I am nervous, but I'm insanely excited for it all at the same time. Also on the 5th is a huge day for releases. We have Supernova by Marissa Meyer. This is the third book in the Renegade series, which is right here if you can see. Renegades is a superhero book. Basically we have the Renegades who are your superheroes that have these superpowers. Then on the flip side of that coin we have anarchists who are kind of our supervillains. In the first book, Renegades, we follow a character named Nova who is an anarchist, and she decides she wants to take the Renegades down, so she decides to infiltrate it from within, and she becomes one of the Renegades to, you know, kind of get in on the inside. I really enjoy this series. I will say I didn't love the second book, but I'm excited to see how it's all going to play out because I'd say if you really love Marvel and superhero things, this series is definitely up your alley. Also on the 5th we have Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. Shay Earnshaw also wrote an amazing YA fantasy book called Wicked Deep, which I love so freaking much, and I'm hoping it's going to be similar to that. This one is, it says, the rumors always say to avoid the haunted woods. Rumored to be a witch, we follow a character named Nora who knows these woods all too well. The woods lead Nora to Oliver, the boy who disappeared a few weeks ago, and things get really dicey from there. So I'm not going to lie to you, the feedback so far in this has been kind of mixed, so I am apprehensive, but I'm still, regardless, very, very excited for it because she writes very dark and atmospheric books, and this is the perfect book to read in the fall, so you bet I'm going to read it. We have 2 more books alone for the 5th of November. First up, The Romance Book Club by Lyssa Kay Adams. This is an adult romance novel, and we follow a guy who is not doing well in his marriage. His wife has told him that she is unsatisfied in one particular department of the marriage, and she decides that she is going to leave him, and he decides to start this book club with a whole bunch of men, and they read historical romance novels to help learn what the woman would like. And I think that sounds like an amazing plot for a book, so I am very excited for this. The cover alone, the plot alone, I hope this is going to be everything I want it to be. Like, oh, I think this could be such a good book, and I really hope it is. Also on the 5th, we have The How and Why by Cynthia Han. This is a YA contemporary, I believe, only I would say a little bit of a serious one. This is about a girl named Cass who has had everything a teen could ask for. A loving family. The only thing she doesn't have is the answers to who her real parents are. The ones who gave her up for adoption. Until she finds a letter from 18 years ago. This is told from Cass's point of view as she starts reading the letters from her biological mother. And it also goes back in time to her mother's point of view of when she's writing these letters to her future daughter. So I think that's such a great parallel, and I really love Cynthia Han's books. She writes a little bit more of a serious topic, but I love them, so I am very excited for this one, and I'll probably need all the tissues. On the 5th, we have The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. This is an adult mystery thriller novel. I've read one other book by her and really enjoyed it. This one is about a family upstairs, I believe, and it's about a woman that's named Libby Jones, and she learns of an inheritance that will change her life. She learns that she has this townhouse that's been in her trust for all these years, and then she decides to investigate this trust, and she also figures out who her birth parents are. She learns all of these secrets about this place where she has this trust trust from. I don't know much about it. With mystery and thrillers, I just tend not to want to know much, but I am very excited for it. And finally, coming out on the 19th is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. This is the third and final book in the Era Folk series, and it is a YA fantasy series all about fairies, if you haven't guessed it, and I am very much anticipating it, as well as many of my friends are like really anticipating it. The first book was called The Cruel Prince, and basically we follow a character named Jude, who is a human, but then she gets swept up to the fairy world and she is living there. The fairies aren't very nice. They're kind of cruel, and she's learning about the politics and things like that. Also, she may have a hate-hate relationship with the Prince of Fairy, and really good series. I love it. It's got a great relationship in it. If you love the love to hate, if you love the hate to love romance trope, this one is definitely one to check out. Those are all the books I am anticipating for the fall. As you can see, I have a lot to read, but either way, I'm excited for each and every one of them, and I'm fingers crossed and am sincerely hoping that I get to read every single one of them this fall. Like, I'm gonna have to really work at it, but I really want to. I'd love to hear what books you're anticipating for the fall months, because I know there's a ton I didn't even mention. Please leave them down in the comments, and let's talk all about the fall releases. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.